How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for some more Skater and Tarkov. Now this video is going to be geared towards the beginner to intermediate players. So people that have been playing this game for hundreds if thousands of hours, you might not find this video too interesting because we're going to be talking about medical keybinds and how I prepare my characters for raids. So let's get started. First off, here's my character screen so you guys can see my statistics. We got that 52% survival rating, which is lower than normal, but it's starting to balance out, thankfully, because I started getting killed quite often by scavengers. I got 60 in-raid hours, and most of my tasks are complete. We're not quite level 40. Level 40 is important to us because we can unlock Ragman level 4 and Mechanic level 4, but that's not what this video is really about. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our character screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about how this works. So we already have some armor on our character. We got a helmet, which is going to protect us from being shot in the face. We have a chest rig, a class 3 body armor, which is obviously going to be protecting us from low penetration rounds, not high caliber assault rifle rounds like these BPs, but it's going to help absorb some damage. We have a Vepr that's already modified, just kind of sitting there ready to go. We have our container. We have our Blackrock and a backpack. So I think the most important thing to start off with is how we're going to be setting up our weapons. Of course, with this patch, with the introduction to the new reloading time, before you just drag ammo into your mag and it would automatically fill up and you could be good to go. Now that's not necessarily the case. However, even with this change, I don't really take any more than 3 magazines with me at a time. And the reason is because of my medication. And you can, if you find that you're running out of ammunition quickly, or if you don't take a sidearm, that you can take more mags and store them in your backpack. But currently, I don't normally do that. And because of the reloading, we are actually going to be taking a sidearm. So I'm going to be using an APB, which is the suppressed automatic pistol that shoots 9x18. And for the sidearms, I usually bring anywhere between 2 to 3 magazines, but lately I've been only focusing on 2 magazines, especially if I have a really strong, powerful primary like a Vepr. So we have 1 mag in there, and we have a magazine that usually sits in my pockets. Now, before this patch, I used to put my ammunition in my pockets, sometimes in my chest rig. You know, I didn't really care too much where the ammunition was, but because we're bringing in a sidearm more often, I do like to keep my ammo inside my pockets, because for example, if we had let's just say a bunch of stuff here loaded up, right, and we wanted to reload a pistol magazine, well, that's going to be going into our first slot in our Blackrock, and the next time we do a Vepr reload, we're going to be losing a magazine. Actually, this is probably the... I want to actually make a note that before I was talking about how you have to be careful about losing a mag, and this is probably the best way to set it up, because let's say we're going to be reloading the APB. Pop a reload. That mag is going to be going in the first viable slot. So we want to make sure that our 2 first slots here are filled up with magazines. I just want to mention that. That's something I actually was just playing around with now and figured it'd be worth to include in the video. So making sure that the ammunition stays in the backpack is something that I've been trying to focus on quite often. So make sure that you just be mindful of how you organize your pockets in your Blackrock so you can comfortably reload without losing any magazines. Even still, I do it all the time. So this is a little excessive, so I would only bring maybe maximum 120 extra rounds, and because the APB goes through ammunition like crazy, I'm going to bring in just 2 stacks of 50 here. So we got 2 stacks of BP, 2 stacks of SP7, which are really high damage 9x18 rounds, but low AP. So when we're going to be using the APB, it's mainly going to be going for legs or trying to get lucky with a headshot. So it's basically our panic weapon. Now that we have our armor, our weapon, our sidearm, and our chest rig is starting to look a little bit organized and our ammunition is nice and stored, let's talk a little bit about the medication. Previous patches, I would recommend to players use an IFAK and a morphine as their primary medication system. And you can still do that, but the only thing about that is you're going to have a level 3 therapist before you're actually able to buy the IFAKs, and you're going to need level 4 before you can actually purchase the morphine. And on top of that, you have to complete tasks in order to unlock the IFAK. So what I would recommend that you do is choose car medical instead. So, and this is what I've been doing. And also on top of that, for example, the price of 2 sets of morphines and 2 sets of IFAKs is actually 35,970 rubles. So it's very expensive to run this setup every single raid, especially you're going to be taking damage a lot by the scavengers now, and I just don't think a 300 durability IFAK is going to cut it. What an IFAK will do for new players is it's going to allow you to bandage yourself and restore damage to your limbs. And 300 is, these days, it used to be a lot, but to me, it's just not enough anymore. So I normally do not actually run an IFAK at all anymore. This might change in the future, but I'm very comfortable with my current medical setup. So I actually prefer to use a car med with a AI2, what we call pocket cheese, and some painkillers instead. So we're going to set that up. Now, before we begin though, in order to get the car med, you can actually purchase this from Therapist level 1, but you will have to complete a task through Therapist, which is called Sanitary Standards. And you just need to find 1 gas analyzer. So I will include a link in the description box below to a playlist that will show you how to complete all the Therapist tasks. But this one is quite easy. Just get a gas analyzer, complete 1 or 2 of her initial tasks, and you'll be able to purchase the car medical from level 1 right out the gate. If you don't have access to that, then using AI2s and bandages is all that you can really do. So lately, I have been setting up my Blackrock with a car med on number 5. So I'm going to drag that to my number 5 hotkey. We got a painkiller that's set to number 4. And then I have an AI2, which is going to be set on number 6. And sometimes, not all the time, I like to bring an extra AI2 for number 7. Now, in my gamma container, I do bring a extra car med and an extra painkiller, just in case. The reason why I do bring extra painkillers is they will only keep you mobilized for up to 4 minutes. So the first one is whenever you get shot in a firefight. The second one is to get you to the extraction point. If you're willing to spend some more money, some players prefer to do painkillers on the hotbar and a backup morphine in the gamma container. This is probably what I'm going to start to do now that I'm entering the late game in Tarkov, because you have that painkiller for that instant mobility, and then you have the morphine for longer maps like Interchange and Shoreline, when you might have to hoof it a little bit longer, especially if Rock Passage is closed. But for the most part, this setup, the 2 cars, the 2 painkillers, and the 2 AI2s is actually only going to cost you 14,410 rubles per raid. And that's if you go through all of this medication. And that's a lot of meds. So the reason why the AI2s are important is because whenever you take damage, your car med is going to immediately prioritize putting a bandage on one of your limbs. Once that bandage is done, once you are no longer bleeding, you use the AI2s to restore the limb damage. So that way you're being the most efficient that you possibly can with your ability to bandage your limbs. Sometimes I will just constantly spam the car med in dire situations, which is completely okay, but you can really save some money and some ability to bandage your limbs by making sure that you only use the AI2 after you're done bleeding. Now, I get a lot of questions on my gamma setup here, and obviously if you have an alpha container, you can definitely kind of manipulate this where you can have a key bar and a painkiller and a car med, but you're gonna have to do a little bit of work here before you buy a beta or get access to the Epsilon container, and that's gonna come a little bit down the road. So if you can't bring backup medication, that's fine, because I know some people won't have access to this large container right away. Just sort of do what you feel is best here, whatever meets your needs. Especially the alpha container for new players is going to be used to store quest items, which is really important at the beginning of the game. So possibly bringing your car med and your painkillers in your scab backpack might be an option, but if you do get killed, you're going to be losing a lot more money. But that basically concludes how I set up my character for raids in patch 0.8 so far, and especially for the lower to mid game. The upper, like whenever you start getting millions of rubles and thousands of dollars, bringing in IFAKs and morphine all the time is going to become more viable. But just know that there are, bringing in a car and an AI2 is completely okay. In fact, I've been doing that for a very long time. with absolutely no problems. It's really my preferred way of playing the game right now. And even when I start using IFAKs and morphine, I think bringing in AI2s is still going to be something that I do, just because it's going to lower the overall cost of your medical bill when you survive your raids. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It will let you know whenever I make a new video. And I also got more Tarkov guides for tasks and strategy with PvP and all sorts of fun gameplay. So definitely take a look at that too. And I also stream every single day starting at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and Sundays at noon, all mainly Escape from Tarkov and other survival shooters.